Dr. Backels went to Navy OCS in Newport, Rhode Island in 1953. OCS stands for Officers Candidate School. And so this young man from Marquette, Michigan, which is quite remote for those of you not familiar with that, goes to Rhode Island and goes through a very tough multi-week indoctrination into Navy ways. And he joins us here today to talk about that a little bit.
OCS was a big shock to me. The day I got there, in the Navy, in the Navy, fire control or fires are really a problem. And you always have to have a fire. And I'll never forget the first day I got there, because my background is my name is B-A-C-K, I was near the top of the list, and all of a sudden we lined up, we were still in our civvies, and they say that you have the 12 to 4 in the midnight to be the fire patrol in this particular barracks. And you know, that comes as a shock, particularly after having been able to sleep from midnight to 4.
What's fire patrol?
What's fire patrol? Well, like the whole thing is to make sure that no fire gets started.
Oh, all right.
And everybody in the Navy understands that fire is not good, and that you have to be totally alert to it at all times. And there I found out within 12 hours of reporting that I was on that patrol. The only thing is say, make sure I wake everybody up if you have a fire.
How many weeks was Navy OCS?
At that point in time, it was 16 weeks.
Tell us about the PT, the physical training.
You have as much.
It's probably a little different from what you're used to in Marquette, wasn't it?
Well, actually, if you're active in Upper Michigan, you were always hunting or fishing and running around the place, and so therefore it really wasn't as bad. However, it was strenuous, but it was irritating, but it was okay.
Okay. Tell us about, now, the naval, the destroyers, the World War II class destroyers. I think you educated me in an earlier talk that there were multiple 10-inch guns. At what point in your training do you learn to bark the orders for the firing of a 10-inch gun? And was that shocking the first time you heard it go up? Because weren't there 10, 12, even, I think the New Jersey even had 16-inch guns, didn't it?
Well, on a destroyer, actually, the biggest gun was 5-inch.
Oh, 5-inch, okay.
But it shakes the whole ship. People understand, too, that there is no permanent base or on any ship, whether it's a battleship or anything else. Remember, when you're out in the ocean, there's constant pounding. You go through typhoons, you go through all sorts of stuff, and you have to recalibrate your computers regularly to make sure they're shooting right, because the ship actually has movement. In destroyers particularly, people don't understand, but it's called the tin can Navy. And it's a tin can because you have no structural heavy-duty armor. And the ship actually wiggles. And therefore you have to realign, the computer is correct, and you have to make sure you're in line with it.
Did you have anti-submarine capability?
I was also the anti-submarine officer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And yeah, we picked up a Russian sub once, but they were down just out trying to do whatever was going on. And you check them, chase them a little bit. They were happy.
What was the first time you heard a 5-inch gun go off? You have to admit, it's got to be substantially different from hearing a 30-06 go off. So when you hear a 5-inch gun go off, that must have been something.
Okay, I'm going to do a little pitch here for the 4th of July, but the loudest noises you hear at 4th of July are what they call, I think, 3-inch or something like that. But anyway, they remind me of shore bombardment because that's what they sound like. So when you come down there, don't put your fingers over your ears, but listen to the larger things, and you'll have a better understanding of what whenever you have a bombardment program.
How in the world do you get used to the up and down, back and forth, constant rolling, since a destroyer is nowhere near the size of a battleship or a luxury cruise liner? That tossing and turning, I mean, I think I would have been continuously sick. How do you do your duty when your stomach is turning upside down and back and forth?
Actually, it doesn't. After a short period of time, you'll learn how. We always, particularly with when we got new people on board, new seamen, they sometimes had to man the rail, you see, because for regurgitating. But within 1 or 2 days, they end up, you just learn it, that's all. You don't, and during heavy seas, you don't sit at the table because this thing will be sliding back and forth, and you end up with good food, but different food. You don't have that much hot food. Incidentally, at that point in time, you never, on a destroyer or smaller ships, you cannot make ice cream. And so therefore, whenever you picked up an aviator who had to ditch his aircraft, you wouldn't send him back unless you got 15 gallons of ice cream. And that was just standard. Everybody on ship had ice cream that day.
There's a cost of being rescued. What was, when you returned home from your service, did you have a positive experience? Were people very welcoming?
Well, the only question is, where have you been? Where have you been all? I haven't seen you for, there was no parades, nothing of that nature.
There was no Mary Backels either,
no.
was it?
Well, actually, Mary Backels buried me the day after I graduated from OCS. So she was a Navy wife for a long time, yeah.
Wow. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Well, happy to be here.